Don't miss any of the action at Oceanside, Chula Vista, Torrey Pines, and many more San Diego schools. Download the free UT Preps app on Google Play or the Apple App Store.
Hey sports fans, welcome back to the Cog and Pool at La Jolla High School. I'm Christian Pedersen. This is our Commander-in-Chief Tom Atwell, the Supreme Analyst of Water Polo here in San Diego County. Welcome to week 2 of the San Diego Prep Insider Water Polo podcast. Thank you very much for having us back. We're going to get straight into it. We're going to check in on some leagues. We got some game predictions. We're going to get to know a couple of players at Grossmont. But first, there was something you wanted to get to before we got started.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Coach Randy Burgess. There was a great article about him in today's San Diego Union Tribune talking about his retirement from coaching. He's still actively teaching and actively involved in the water polo community. Kind of the next phase, I think, of his career is going to be working on the Officials Association and trying to ramp up our level of officiating throughout the county. But I just want to commend him on a great, several decades of service, and what a great mentor he's been to many of us here in the water polo community as an educator and a coach.
Well, and not just. It's not retirement. He's just transitioning. He's switching from one leadership role to the next. So we look forward to many more years of him helping out here in the in the San Diego water polo community. Excuse me. Let's get now to some league and analysis, some matchups. We got Avocado West up in the North County. This is chock full of talent at the top half. We got Carlsbad, San Diego, Vista, LCC, RBV. That's where it's sitting as of right now. You look down this, maybe some surprises that San Diego is threatening a little bit, nipping on some heels. But let's talk about, what do you see first out of Carlsbad, the leaders right now?
Well, Carlsbad, they're a very balanced attack. I think we talked about them a little bit last week, but they really run very deep. Coach Feaster up there does an amazing job with those guys. I know they train really hard all year round, and Daniel Norman, their center back, is one of their lead players and an absolutely great 2-meter defender.
Well, that great defense you're talking about, only 24 goals allowed so far on the season for the Lancers. That's pretty shut down. The team behind them is pretty offensive. The San Diego squad this year, we're looking at it right now, first team to 100 goals for in the league right there, and that's pretty impressive at only 6 games in. Want to give a shout out to Matthias Gentler, their leading scorer, already 25 goals on the season. That's pretty hot to have 6 games in. You pretty impressed by those numbers?
They are strong numbers. It'll be great to see them when they get into their league play and see that offense go to work against both Vista and Carlsbad and see how they stand up against those two.
Definitely a big test. You're right, they haven't played any league games yet, so maybe they can sneak a couple against the bottom half of the league, threaten and hang around a little bit. That could be a lot of fun to watch for the Mustangs. You mentioned another team there, Vista. What do you see so far out of the Panthers? We're only 2-2, but they're always a team that's deep. They're always a team that's ready to go.
Yeah, Vista is only 2-2, but they're also their strength of schedule. They've played some very tough teams already, and their schedule is very tough all the way through the season. So even if they end the season 500, they're still going to be one of the top tier teams in the county. I see them making a bid to be in the Open Division this year, and of course they're led by Josh Spence, Coach Dave Spence's son, who's a senior this year and a great leader on that team and an incredible outside shooter, a great driver.
Another member that we've seen on that Vista team is Kelton Glossick. He was on our San Diego Prep Insider watch list a couple weeks ago. It just shows that this is going to be an absolute dogfight to the end. This is going to be a fun one to watch because LCC always also has that tough strength of schedule playing up there in the North County, and you can't leave out RBV just for the sake that they're playing against the best competition up there. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Another one that's kind of a little bit of a logjam up at the top. We'll come down a little more Central City here, City Western League. As it sits right now, Bishops, La Jolla, University City, Cathedral Catholic, Coronado. Start with Bishops. What have you seen so far out of the Knights?
Well, they haven't really been tested yet. They played in an early tournament here in San Diego, and then they played University City, and so they're undefeated. I think they're 7-0 at this point, and their margin of winning has been something like 8 or 9 goals. So I don't think until they get into some league play or some of the tournaments outside of the county, we won't really know what they have, how deep they are, but they're again very strong. They return a lot of solid players, and they have some younger kids that are very talented. So they're going to be, as always competitive. I see them in the top tier of the Open Division.
They're a roster that seems to always replenish themselves. Want to just read off their stats right now. 121 goals for, 24 goals against. So we were talking about San Diego being impressive at 100. They're at 121 already. They've played 2 more games than San Diego, but you're right, that margin of victory right now seems to indicate that once they do get into league play and get into some of those tougher matchups, they will still be able to continue to compete as they have every single year. They just replenish their roster every single season. Now I feel like we keep doing this opposite. Offense, now back to defense. Let's talk about your Vikings. 14 goals allowed so far in League 4 out of this, so 18 goals total. Webster's playing great in goal. 4-0. What else do we have to know about the Vikings?
Well, we are led by a great goalie in Douglas Webster, a senior on the team.
San Diego Prep Insider watch list member, by the way.
and we again, I think one of our focuses have been defense up to this point. And just trying to play as much lockdown defense as we can. It's going to be we're going to be tested. Our league is very tough, and our schedule is very tough. We start the America's Finest City tournament. Actually, lead off with Cerritos tonight in a non-conference game, and then start our tournament tomorrow. But we're going to put a real big, strong emphasis on our defense and see how things play out.
Strong defense, always an interesting call in water polo, because a lot of times you see games running up into the high single digits, low double digits score regularly all season long, but for a team to be able to shut down every single team they compete against is really an impressive feat. Let's keep going here. University City, Cathedral Catholic, Coronado, all 3 of those teams looking up right now at Bishops and La Jolla, but all 3 of those teams with a lot of talent. Let's get to Cathedral Catholic. We were talking about strength of schedule before the show a little bit. Cathedral sitting kind of at an uncustomary 0-5 right now, but you were saying that they really have played themselves as hard of a schedule as they can get their hands on. Absolutely.
They're going to be still, I think, the #1 team in the county, the #1 team to try to beat. With four, they won 4 in a row here in the Open Division, and they started off at the Elite 8 tournament. And they played the #1 team in the country, Harvard Westlake, to start that tournament. They just did an incredibly tough tournament, 5 very difficult games. So, whoever is playing them next, I actually kind of feel bad for, because they're going to be up lambs for the slaughter, because they're ripe to want to go take somebody's head off, I think.
So you don't think 4th place is going to be a permanent spot for the Dons?
Absolutely not. I see that once they get into playing, especially down here in San Diego, that they're going to put themselves right back near the top.
How vital is that for a team to really test itself before it gets to league?
I think it's real important. I think you see the top tier teams in San Diego County. That's one of the things they do is, even though they're going to suffer some losses, and it may hurt them power ranking wise and where their eventual seat is, that playing that tough schedule gets you ready to play those really tough games, especially as we get into late October, early November, when it counts most.
There you go. It should be very interesting to check in on both those leagues. We'll get to some of the other leagues as the season progresses. If there's any leagues you want us to talk about, just let us know. Let's move now out to the East County. The Grossmont Hills League, currently Santana and Grossmont battling back and forth for the top spot there. We have a pair of the Foothillers who are joining us now, Ryan Blevitt and Ben Mussey. Guys, thank you very much for checking in with us. So guys, let's get straight to it. You're coming off of a league championship season. You've been doing pretty well this year. What's been part of your success?
We have a really solid starting lineup. I think that is a really big part to winning games.
Yeah, I think it's just in practice, really, just working hard. Defense really is everything in our minds. Defense wins championships, so.
So guys, you were league champs this last year. We're kind of interested to see what you think your chances are to repeat as league champs, led by Coach Clint McLaughlin, who's doing an amazing job out there. What do you think your chances are?
Yeah, we just need to put the same effort in, and I could see us winning the league again.
Oh yeah, I'm pumped. I know he's pumped.
Whole team's pumped.
Should be a big year. I think it should be no problem. I think we should take league this year.
So guys, last question. You got a big matchup coming up against Santana this week. Tell us a little bit about what you think is going to be happening there.
Well, we just have to go in with confidence like we do in every game, bring the fire right off the bat, and I think we can blow them out of the water.
Yeah, just know start out hot, come out full intensity, don't let up. I mean,
It's very interesting kids there. Good to get to know them. Clint McLaughlin throwing together a great run right now at Grossmont.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with him. He was a great player, and has turned into a great coach. And watching what he's done with that program these last couple of years, I see Grossmont moving up and being a constant contender, probably in the Open Division in the years to come.
There you go. A first of an East County dynasty potentially. Good to see a kid who played at Valhalla, staying out in the East County, trying to help that area really raise up the entire level of water polo play. We talked about them having a big game against Santana. Let's get to our other game previews next week. First one I want to get to, Carlsbad taking on Bishops. Tell me a little bit about what you're looking forward to here.
Well, both play the same style of play, very kind of aggressive, pressing very hard defense, looking to counterattack as much as possible. So it'll be interesting to see that matchup because they're both going to work very hard to create some counterattack opportunities.
Well, and this is what we were kind of talking about initially with Bishops, maybe not having the biggest tests of the season. This is a big test. This is going to be a big-time game to really kind of mark the beginning of, hey, it's San Diego's time for the big boys to be playing each other.
I totally agree, and it's interesting. This year is slightly different, I think, because you look at Carlsbad, and I think they have a few senior leaders in that group, and I think Bishops is led by a lot of younger kids, and so that matchup's going to change slightly. Where Bishops usually has a few senior kids who are going to lead that group. I think that there's a little role reversal here, and so we'll see how that plays out.
Well, a good chance for some young knights to maybe ink the first chapter in their new legacy. Let's move on to another game. This one, your former squad, Scripps Ranch, taking on Rancho Bernardo. Right now, I want to say Scripps Ranch starting off very hot, 6-3. Coach AJ Farrell there, and he's got a leading scorer. I want to give a shout out to Carson Miller. He's throwing together a pretty decent season for them. But Rancho Bernardo, no slouches, sitting at 4-2 right now. What do you see out of that one?
Well, I look at what AJ's done with Scripps the last couple of years, and he's put them back in a position where I think they're going to be a strong contender. And I think them hosting RB, I give the advantage to Scripps this time.
There you go, a little home pool favoritism. And you've got a couple games to get to at your home pool, so we'll let you get going. Thank you very much for being here. And guys, as always, if you have anything you want us to talk about, any feedback, please let us know. We're going to try and get to everybody in the county as best we can this season. Thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, check in with San Diego Prep Insider.